today what we're going to do is head off this way and we're going to go on a coastal hike.
Tin roof sounds alarm and wake up, child.
During this coastal walk we've come across various little coves like this one, and there's lots of nice beautiful homes along the edge here, each one with its own private little boat launch. There's a little door here that they can launch out their boat into the cove.
Black hands held so high.
So we're headed for over there. There's a head, and then there's this island which has this turret on it, so it looks pretty spectacular, and hopefully we'll get there soon.
This is a typical lunch in France, a baguette.
He laughed under his breath because you thought that you could outrun sorrow. Take your own advice.
So here we are, we made it. The island's just over there. I don't think we can actually get out to it today, but this is about as close as we're going to get. That last bit was a bit dodgy. We had to kind of shimmy along this wall with the waves splashing up, but I'm glad we made it through it.
Bottom of the drain.
We're in Chapter3, which in summer attracts a lot of A-grade celebrities and movie stars. We've seen a lot of boutique stores around in town and it's quite pricey, but at the moment it's actually the quiet season, so it's just a nice little town.
All his songs are stolen.
Another day, another 17th century fort.
Stole them out from whippoorwills, screaming call alarm.
So we've caught this bus here out to Plague des Salines, and now we're going to hike back into Chapter3.
He knows you're afraid of it.
This is the tomb of Emile Oliver. We don't know who it is, but I'd say it's a pretty nice spot to be buried.
Hide under the bed, turn out the light. Stars this night in the sky are ringing out. You can almost.
So each of these private properties here facing the waterfront have their own private doorway, which leads to a staircase that leads all the way down to this little platform here where they can swim.
Morning's teeth are lit. They are.
We randomly came across this film festival of Australian and New Zealand films in Saint-Tropez of all places.
Take a little wisdom with a mold.
You complain you're tired, but you said that no, I cannot sleep. Say I'm feeling.
This building was originally built as a shelter for the town's poor, but now it houses two museums. It's got a beautiful courtyard.
You feed yourself on talk about the real and the word could happen. Lying lazy.
This is the Calanques near Marseille. It's an absolutely stunning bit of coastline. It's particularly striking because of these limestone cliffs that kind of sink right down into the water and give you these dramatic bays.
When people didn't write, they showed up on friends' doorsteps late in the middle of the night. Said, let's go to the west side, see a movie. Ourselves high. And sit on
Today we're taking a ferry out to the Frioul Islands.
as the time goes by. Singing nothing with the other game.
Ile de Frioul is actually two islands joined together. We're currently on Ile de Pomegay, and that's Ile de Racheneau over there, and they're joined by this dike down here which was built in the 19th century.
Things that
Behind me on the island here is Château d'If. It's a fortress that was turned into a prison, and it's also the place where the fictional character in The Count of Monte Cristo was imprisoned. We've hiked for an hour and a half out to the end of the furthest island, and we've come across this ruined gun battery that's quite impressive. It also feels quite remote. We haven't seen anyone for the last half an hour, but we're actually not that far from Marseille. You can see it over there in the distance.
reckless ages and call for evidence from the greatest and the wisest of the sages. Oh, cups claim
This island was used as a quarantine zone for people who had the plague or cholera, and this hospital behind me was used to treat people. Unfortunately, in 1720 there was a ship that broke the quarantine and went to Marseille, and it killed about 50,000 of the 90,000 inhabitants at the time.
Of Notre Dame de la Garde, about 150 metres above Marseille. As you can see behind me, we've got this spectacular view of Marseille and its old port. And on the other side, up here, we have the Basilica, the statue of the Virgin Mary. The statue is about 11.2 metres tall and weighs just under 1 metric tonne. Behind me is the Palais de Pape, which is the palace of the popes. In the 14th century, because of political turmoil in Rome, they moved the papal seat to here and they built this palace. And so for 70 years, this is like the Vatican. Slightly unusual sight, what appears to be a group of old friends having lunch in the car park here. We're having this very strong wind today, it's called the Mistral wind. And we can't go up to this Fort St Andre unfortunately, because the wind's too strong. The Mistral is a gusty wind that's characteristic of southern parts of France. We had encountered it previously, but we felt the full brunt of it in Avignon.
So the Romans built this aqueduct here to take fresh water from a spring in the town of Urs to another town, Nîmes, and the idea is the water flows along the top and there's a very gradual decline along the whole time. It's pretty much got to stay pretty much flat the whole time, and so that's why you see these arches here. So when the terrain goes up and down, these arches allow the top to stay pretty much level.
This section of aqueduct has actually been cut into the ground.
The problem was to get between the two towns, the aqueduct had to cross this river here, and so the solution was to build this, the Pont du Gard. It's a three-tier aqueduct bridge that goes over the river, and what's especially impressive is that it's so well preserved even after 2,000 years.
We're in Carcassonne, which is one of the largest medieval fortifications in Europe. One of the most distinctive features of the city are these fairy tale-like roofs which resemble witches' hats. Carcassonne also shares a name with one of Michael's favourite board games. Look! It's Carcassonne in Carcassonne!
Carcassonne has two defensive walls, an inner wall here and an outer wall, so it was very well defended. The reason is because it was very important strategically. The French-Spanish border was just here until it moved with a treaty that was signed later on.
Getting too cold for ice cream, so here we come, Spain.